What we really wanted to talk about on the show was Iggy Azalea and that fancy song. You brought it up. I caught you eating right before the show, and you're like, "Yo, do you know the Iggy Azalea's Fancy?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, all too well. Why was it on your brain?
I no longer have SiriusXM just because my subscription expired. It is not due to the Opie and Anthony canceling. Though
you did
I
not
can now...
stand with Ant. Hashtag continue.
So yeah, I now that I no longer have SiriusXM, I have to listen to FM radio, which I put up with for a while. It's been about 6 months where I've been okay with it. It's not great, but
I was
recently,
about to say, you don't need any damn Sirius to hear Iggy Azalea.
It has just fallen off the table how bad FM radio is, and that's the leader of the pack right now of like the horrible. Like I miss John Legend. I miss All of Me. I'm like, where's that song? I need more of that. It's gotten so bad on FM radio recently.
Oh, we can hold on. First, let me be a professional. Let's fire up the bell of the ball. Oh yeah. Such a fat beat.
This is straight
PHAT.
This is off my free version of Cakewalk, basically.
On the railest. So, for those of you unaware of who the hell Murder Business, she just used that term. This is despite what you're hearing, Iggy Azalea. The song's called Fancy, featuring Charlie XCX. So, Iggy Azalea, if you haven't seen her, she's a white girl.
From Australia.
Hair, from Australia. Those are like just British criminal stock. There's no intermingling there. So she's as yank gets. And when I heard this was featuring Charlie XCX, and then I hear the rapping, now you might look at me and you're like, John plays the race card a little fast.
Yeah.
It might be in my pocket to be thrown on the table with the quickness. I might chuck the race card like Gambit.
Right.
I'll own up to that. But I hear this and I'm like, well, Charlie XCX must be a lovable black woman who is rapping this song, and Iggy Azalea being the white woman, she's the one doing the hook with the "I'm so fancy."
Not true, my friend. Not true.
Yeah, so my girlfriend was playing the song for me, and maybe the second go through, I'm like, who's who on this? And she's like, Iggy is the rapper. Now, again, I would like to say I have my own unique racial perspective. Sometimes I would think people of a minority don't agree with what I say. Here's one that I'd like to think they will emphatically agree with me on. Why the hell is a white girl out there pretending like this is how she sounds? Because when the mic, when she's not rapping and you get her in an interview, she's going to try to sound hood too. That's what really drives.
No, I think
she
speaks with an Australian accent, I've heard.
Does she just like? So this is a complete affectation.
It's
that
actually
she puts on to rap.
She started rapping as a teenager. I read her wiki page. And so when she came to the U.S., maybe 16, 17, something like that, she had it in mind to, be in entertainment in the United States. And so I think she got in contact with T.I. somehow and ended up training to get onto like these Dirty South record labels. So it really was a sort of training program in order to get her to be on a record label. And since she was exposed to Southern rap, that is how they developed her skill. It really is sort of like the Karate Kid, where you have like this Italian kid learning to fight a Japanese style. They really brought this Australian girl to the Dirty South. And it's just like, hey, we're going to set you up with a mentor. He's going to teach you how to hone your rapping skills.
And that is a great metaphor or a great analogy, because how authentic would you think of it if you saw a martial arts flick where it's a white guy and he's like, nah, it's cool, man. I was trained by Asians.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't give an F. I want the son of a bitch who grew up eating out of the rice bowl doing my karate kick movies. Thank you very much. It's just like with Iggy, getting back to hip hop. There was a long time in my life, not like when white kids as teens get into hip hop. I thought I was much better than it then. I was a metalhead, and I was like, F everyone putting on that affectation. But around age 18, I just started listening to it among several musics I listen to. And again, call me naive, call me idealistic. I like to think of my hip hop as like black guys who grew up in the crappy environment they're rapping about. And to me, it's kind of a music of the poor, if you will.
Okay, so you also hate Drake. You dislike Drake.
I could not care less.
Okay.
Or I couldn't, couldn't care less.
Do you affirmatively hate him, or are you just like, meh?
I don't care. I mean, like, he's making music, and I guess the music's fine. I've heard some of his stuff, and I'm just like, I am very unmoved by this.
It's just he's decidedly middle class from Canada. You know, he came into entertainment as a child actor, so
like, okay. Even Tupac and Biggie are kind of putting on airs, but they lived in crappy neighborhoods for the most part. I'll give them that much. Like, I don't think Tupac knew his dad, Biggie's dad, pieced out.
But isn't this the natural flow of pop music, man? Because, like, look back at rock.
Co-opting. Are you kidding me? Yeah. You look at rock, the quintessential rock musician, who is it? I think the average person would go Elvis without missing a beat. All Elvis did was rip off black dudes. I mean, he did it really well.
Even a lot of the Beatles' #1 tunes were covers of songs by black artists who grew up poor and actually wrote songs based on that experience.
Yeah.
So,
and I remember I'm trying to remember what class this was. I don't even think it was musical history, but it was just an old white dude. And we got on the subject of black music in America.
Yeah.
And he was just like, there's just no other way to say this. It just sounds better, doesn't it? And like every kid in the class was just like, yeah. It's more soulful, if you will.
Dude, even with, like, you look at the blues. I created a Black Keys station on Pandora. And one of the things that they always think you like, if you like the Black Keys, is Jimi Hendrix.
Oh.
And every time they go from a Black Keys song to Jimi Hendrix, I'm just like, it's just not fair.
The only reason to listen to the Black Keys is if you wanted to screw college girls in 2009. That's it. Hey, man. I have There's no other reason to listen to them.
Brothers is an excellent album, man. Come on. Step off.
I remember that soured a relationship I had with a younger chick. She was like, what do you think of the Black Keys? And like, had her little hands together. Like,
you don't like them at all?
Please answer this correctly. No, I was like, they're derivative. Who gives
They are derivative, but what's wrong with that?
I don't know. I guess I'm just a turd out of Opie and Anthony's ass. I'd like to think I do something a little different. I want to listen to something new. Or at least, if you're derivative, let me listen to the artist that inspired you. So getting back to Iggy Azalea, I hear this.
Right.
And I'm like, why the F would the proud history of hip hop, and it comes down to this? Why wouldn't I dig out my copy of like Black Star or It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back? Instead, I got this chick why isn't she getting laughed out of the industry? When did it become okay for someone that lily white who wasn't like, if you were taken into the black community like Blindside style, like you were adopted at age 4, and that's how you really talk or whatever, that's fine. So be it. Maybe then you can be the great white hope.
I'm sort of on the same page with you. I don't mind when people do this, obviously, since you have listeners who think that I suddenly sound like I've decided to be black today. But I'm just, if I were going to pick a rap style, why Dirty South? To me, like, learning to rap Dirty South is like learning to sing Cockney. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you want to sound like Lily Allen if you're going to learn how to sing? No, you aim higher. Go for Adele or something. You have to actually try to sound good in the art. And that's why, like, if I were going to do rap, why wouldn't you want to sound like you came out of New York? Why not a little Brooklyn style or something? Anything besides this.
It's just all an affectation. We could have been like rapping about dingoes eating your babies and crap like that. Would have been semi-interesting to me. I'm like, well, I've never heard that. Like, talk about getting mashed on Foster's and then blowing some abos or something like that. Like, that is interesting to me. Like, you want to sound hard. You're like, I once fisted a koala.
I did live in Australia for a semester during college, and there are Australian rappers, and they do just rap about their life experiences down there with a thick Australian accent. It's cool.
Talk about decapitating a kangaroo with a boomerang. And then playing a didgeridoo. Why isn't that in the sample mix for this song?
Actually, when I was about 10 years, it was when my first job out of college, I had these friends who listened to Irish rap.
Sorry, can't hear you over the realness. Cup of Ace, Cup of Goose. So, I am listening to a white girl from the effing boonies of Booneyland rap about drinking Cristal.
Well, she probably did. She was dating A$AP Rocky for a little bit, man.
Yeah, I've never heard this in rap though, and especially I'm so happy this is the aspect of rap you picked up on. You didn't get into like some sort of underground rap. Just like let's hear about rims. I mean, really, get the hell off it, sister. This is all crap she's learned in the last 3 years of her life coming over to America. It drives me berserk, dude.
She did come over young enough where it's pretty much all her entire adult life. So that's one thing. She was young enough when she came over here that it's the mind is flexible enough at that age.
Okay.
I'll try to give her the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I don't like how it sounds either, but yeah.
There's a really good, I'm not going to say I really give a crap about Simon Cowell. I always liked when he played the heel on American Idol. Like that. Now he's on X Factor or whatever, and he's nice sometimes. I don't know what the hell. He's cucking his friend, knocked up the wife or whatever. Oh, I don't know what the hell's going on in that man's life now. But one time he was asked, like, hey, and this was, I think, when Sexy Back came out.
Oh, right.
And Usher had, I think, the album that contained Yeah off it about the same time. And someone was like, well, who do you prefer, Usher or Justin Timberlake? And without missing a beat, he's like, well, Justin Timberlake's just pretending to be black, right? So I'm going to go with the guy who's authentically black and doesn't have to pretend. His every thought doesn't have to go through a filter of like, well, I'm a white guy. How would I say this if I were really black, though? Like, right. JT is from the South. I mean, like, what, Tennessee or some crap like that. I remember when he beat out Johnny Cash's Hurt video, I think with Crimea River or something back then. And he's like, yeah, man, I remember my grandpa, y'all raised me on Johnny Cash. He should be getting this award. I'm like, your grandpa, if he were alive, would smack the F out of your little white boy face for talking like a you-know-what. And I'd leave it for the grandpa to say his thoughts on the matter. And he's up there right now like, oh, yeah, this is how I was raised, son. You didn't talk like that, you little punk ass. Get the hell out of here. I hate it, man. Gotta take everything from black people. Why is it okay to just rip their culture? I mean, you hear it and it sounds great. So you know what? Do something they don't do. Play hockey. Play speed metal. I don't know.
Speed metal is pretty fantastic, production-wise.
Oh, it's great.
You'll never hear a MIDI bass line. That's one thing. Yeah, it's really offensive when I hear a MIDI bass line. Even the RZA. I read an interview with the RZA recently bemoaning. It
sounds like Nintendo game music, and not in a good way.
No, yeah. I think the creators of Mario Brothers would have said, this is not good enough for our video game in 1988.
Those SE Mortal Kombat sounds. There you go, Wu-Tang lyric.
But now, like, the RZA was complaining about how much sampling costs these days because it's really degrading the quality of the samples available. Like, people are just creating their own beats, and they sound like that. As if, I'll tell you this, when I got my first microphone for my computer, it came with free software for programming beats, basically. It sounds like that. It sounds like someone bought a microphone for $100 off of Amazon and programmed that into their computer and then started rapping over it. So it's a terrible beat. It really is.
Hold on. I hope this is the clean version of Ha. This is what hip hop needs to be. This is what I remember. And this was sellout crap in my day. But, hold on. I have an ad to skip.
It really
Juvenile,
is.
I'll always go back to this video. If you want what scary street hip hop was, look at Juvenile's Ha video. And it's like
just so good.
Some NOLA projects where if a white guy wandered there, in 10 minutes, you would be getting raped and murdered, robbed, raped and murdered. But he's rapping surrounded by guys from this environment. That's hip hop to me. Not some white girl who grew up like playing with dingoes.
Are you watching the video or are you just playing when you play the Iggy Azalea stuff? Are you watching the video or
there? The Magnolia Housing Projects. I look at this, I've said this before, it looks like Black Hawk Down. Right. It looks like the Skinnies just took down Tom Sizemore. It's the scariest damn video. I mean, it was like three little black kids right there just jumping on a mattress. That's kind of scary. Where'd they get the damn dirty mattress? Then it's a guy next to a payphone with a snake around his neck. That's not Slash with his snake in the Patience video, kind of weird, fun, scary. That's just scary.
Oh yeah,
He's gonna rob you and cut off your pinky and then feed it to the snake in front of you.
dude. Where I live in Baltimore now, so it's summer. Like
Yeah.
all the kids are off from school. Apparently, I haven't really run into this, but yeah, lots of people in the neighborhood were telling me that you have kids that just buy these dirt bikes up and then they just in packs of like 20 or more.
Just race through and rob people.
No, they're just
Oh.
they're not doing anything but just riding around, and they're just like they basically cluster together for safety. It's a weird thing. So they're just trying to do tricks without people trying to run them over, but they take over the street. So like you can't get around. They're like using the sidewalks. They're just doing tricks. And everybody just kind of slow down and be like, hey, I'm just driving my car. Oh, well.
And how disruptive is that? How annoying and disruptive. And that's the kind of thing where someone gets run over by a white guy and then there's like a riot. And it's like, why do you think you can come into the hood and run over our kids? And it's like, the street was shut down. I just wanted to get to work. What the hell?
I think the problem would be more like there are now 20 other little kids who are pissed that you ran over their friend, and you got to get out of the car because you can't just like drive away, I don't think.
That happened, I think, in Detroit maybe 3 months ago or some crap. Like, kids were running around the street, and a white guy, like, one bounds in the street, white guy runs him over. He gets out to check and is like, oh my God, kid, are you okay? And like 3 dudes from the neighborhood just beat him like half to death. Like, he's permanently effed up now.
Yeah.
Whatever. Let's not take this down Kumia Avenue. Give a State of the Black Union address. I just, Iggy Azalea is driving me nuts. And this chick is getting famous sounding like this. And for some reason, no one has a problem with it.
Well, here's the thing about pop music that I've learned, and this is the formula that will continue forever, it seems. If you are trying to make money in music, the goal is to find artists with the types of songs that young women ages 12 to, I'd say, 17. You could probably push it up to 19, but women between the ages of 12 and 19, you know, preteens and teens, are the most likely to, number one, pay for music, but two, they're going to affiliate paying for the music with supporting that artist. And so this is why when you're trying to make money in music, this is the number one group that you're trying to sell to. This is why Iggy Azalea is on the radio everywhere, because for the most part, other demographics don't really pay for music. They either illegally download it or they expect it for free. There's not this real desire to support artists where you're not going to go out of your way to pay for stuff on iTunes from an artist if you don't like the songs. You'll only buy the stuff you like. Whereas Iggy Azalea, her fans are downloading her whole album.
I don't know. I think my girlfriend did some YouTube rip of it. The kids today don't pay for crap.
I'm just saying nobody pays for crap today. And so there's only a small demographic of people who are willing to pay for Taylor Swift's crap. Like, why is she on the radio? It's because of radio piracy or music piracy. The only people who are selling fit that demographic of young women. They're the only loyal purchasers of music today.
It's funny you bring up Taylor Swift because she's another poser, but at least she's stealing from her own people. Like Taylor Swift, I think was like born and raised in New York City or some junk. Am I wrong on that? Like, wasn't her dad
Something
a
like that.
stockbroker or some crap?
I have no
and
idea.
she was just like, I love hayseed music. Get us to Nashville.
Yeah, it was just sort of like, well, that's cute, daughter. We'll get you some guitar lessons, maybe some vocals, some
and then
songwriting.
this girl's so crazy driven. Like at 14, she's cutting demos and just sending them out. And she's like signed by what, 17 or something?
To be fair, she's probably sending a headshot, and the guys are like, oh yeah, I want to meet her. I mean, that's a big issue as well. It's the record execs, one, know that they need to market it to 12 to 17-year-olds, but two, they're looking for girls that they can look at too. Because they know that, like, men will be willing to tolerate it more if they're able to look at it too. I mean, it's just sort of the how much are you willing to put up with it for the people who are not in that demographic.
Yeah.
And they're more likely to put up with it if, you know, they're like that classical, like, model type, so... I don't really...
I'm now looking at pictures of Iggy Azalea.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's just, it's a crappy formula, and yet it's the only way that the mainstream music industry can still make money. It's really trying to exploit the people who are willing to pay for it. So if you think music piracy isn't a problem, just listen to FM radio, because the only thing that plays now, it's garbage because it's pretty much geared towards people who are going to pay for Lord's crappy music. Don't get me wrong, I like Royals.
Crappy music, yeah, I was gonna say.
Royals is
I've
a
heard
great
Royals.
song, but she has 2 singles out since then. They're awful.
I haven't. Sorry, I'm
Tennis Court's terrible.
trying to find out or trying to figure out in my soul if I find Iggy Azalea attractive or not. I do not like her face. I'll say that much. That dome piece is not good.
What's weird is in the video for Fancy, they dress her up like Alicia Silverstone from Clueless, and so it's a bit of an homage to Clueless. It's the strangest thing because you hear the attempt to sound like Missy Elliott.
It looks like an
Missy
albino
Misdemeanor
tried to
Elliott.
be one of those Robert Palmer girls.
Wow.
Like just that big, thick red whore lipstick and the ponytail. But she just looks without pigment. What's all this talk about her ass being big? It's like white girl big. It ain't big. Get the hell out of here. Oh, she's just hitting every angle, trying to stick it out. You know what a real big ass is?
Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she's a little too big. She's like livestock, but there's a happy medium here. Oh, God. She's got these
We'll just
big hips.
we'll agree to disagree, man. I
What,
think.
on Iggy's ass?
No,
Or-
Nicki Minaj's.
Oh, no, I've seen some shots where even you would be like, pardon moi, sir. Too much. Too beaucoup. Even you would pull out your fan and go, oh. Not in a good way. I mean, because hers is completely fake. Like, if it were real, I could at least support it. She got, like, her ribs removed and shoved in her ass. I think she has, like, her liver and kidneys in there, too.